know if you're ready for today, Sarah, because today is a really big topic.
Yeah.
It starts with a C, and
Oh, no.
and it's called control. Bum bum. And I think, to me, what is so fascinating about this topic in general, when we look at relationships, is I think at first glance, most people would be like, ugh, control. I don't want to be controlled. I don't know. And yet, pretty much everyone is trying to control outcomes in relationships in their lives all the time, and interfacing with people who are also trying to control outcomes in things all the time. And that's just a very broad stroke of, oh shit, it's everywhere. But I think where I would like to start with you today is this nuance of control with relationship, which is this very sneaky thing that we do where our caring and our judgment and our control are all wrapped up together, where we are desiring certain things actually because we care, and then we're trying to make that happen. So what is the slippery slope of that caring control dynamic?
Oh, it's so funny how a lot of these conversations, as we've been like breaking it down over the last couple of days, go back to what we were taught and like how we were raised, right? Because you are created from some sort of relationship, even if it was like you, mom, and the sperm donor. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that as an absent father. I actually meant a sperm donor. But if you have an absent father, it's another way to call it. But you were born of a relationship, some type of relationship. And so you were taught all that. And then you got in the world, and those like mechanisms, those foundational points of view about what it is to feel loved or received or cared for, you carry them into all sorts of other relationships, because that is, it's just like the way we're programmed. And that's why I'm so big on looking at parenting and how we're parenting and unparenting ourselves, because so much of that stuff isn't yours. It's not how it has to be. But so caring and control, they are like besties. They've got a great relationship. Because the reason why a lot of parents do control is because of how the depths of their caring, like their caring just goes into, I care so much, I can't let anything ever, gosh dang it, I can't ever let anything bad happen to you. And because I am now in charge of another person for the first time in my life, and that's a very big responsibility, I have to control every outcome to make sure that you're safe, so that I can control whether I ever have to go through the heartache or heartbreak of something bad happening to you. So it all goes together. So the way that you show you care often is to control, possibly desiring the greatest for somebody. You try to control their choices. We try to get them to see what as right and valuable. And it's oftentimes when you know that someone cares is when they're trying to control you. And this is one of those things where, like you said, like on the surface level, it's not, people have relationships where they have to check in, and there's a level of control that's so overt that it's like abusive. And so that's one conversation of where control comes in a relationship. But there's also the places where I remember having my first very jealous boyfriend in high school. I say first because I collected them for a little while. Because when he would get jealous and want to reel me in, I was like, he loves me. Did you see how he reacted? He loves me. And I was so validated by his need to control anybody who might find me a story about how I grew up with a father who, the first time I ever had like a two-piece bathing suit, he would have to model it for him. What I know is that my father was so controlling and scared and nervous about me like being lusted after by men who might harm me or something, that he had to check it out to see how much the lust level on my bathing suit. And so there's that energy. Like, you might not call it jealousy with my dad, but if you look at the energy, there's somebody going, hey, I don't want other people to look at your body or to find you attractive. And then I go out in the world, and I was a daddy's girl for a long time until I wasn't. I'm like, ooh, this boy loves me. He wants to keep me from ever being seen by anybody else. And so he's controlling out of caring. And we can easily fall into it as a behavior of how to show caring, but also allow for it because we feel cared for. And what's beyond it? Because if you don't have that mechanism, if you're truly being space with someone and being allowance for whatever they're choosing, you also don't have the structure that holds the whole thing together of control. So it's like things feel too malleable. There's too much move. You're just going to be here and then you're going to go when you want to. And I don't get to control you into staying with my guilt trip or my sad face or my victimhood. What? And control's in a lot of funny little places. That's where I'll leave that. There's a lot of funny little places where control is.